As well, tensions rise ahead of Odwira festival as police tighten security in Ashirase after deadly chieftaincy clashes leave 1 dead and several injured. Well, in the bulletin, Majority Leader takes on NPP MPs over an agreement to deport some West African nationals to Ghana from the USA, insisting no parliamentary ratification was required.
Is that we should ratify it, we will consider so.
And in the bulletin, Attorney General charges RTI Commission to prioritize environmental information awareness to tackle the threats of illegal mining more as the government pledges continued effort to expand public access to information through the government's accountability series.
I urge the Commission to make environmental information a central pillar of its awareness campaigns, ensuring that citizens are empowered to act in defense of our collective future.
And later, the Stripes refused to fall. One-time champion at Disadel College clawed their ways past Asan State and Ya Asantewaa Girls SHS to grab 1/8 slot in the NSMQ. We've got these and many in our 60 minutes package. Join us, independent, fearless, and credible. Please stay for details. I appreciate your company this afternoon. First, a shocking murder has thrown the town of Damongo into mourning. The lifeless body of a 31-year-old motorbike mechanic identified as Ganud Zakaria, popularly known as No Pen, was discovered at dawn today at the outskirts of Larabanga in the Savannah region. His throat had been slit and a motorcycle together with a black goat were found beside his body. The discovery has reignited fears among residents about renewed cases of livestock theft in the area. Police have since taken custody of the body as investigations continue. Isaac Nonya joins me via Zoom for more on this development. Now, Isaac, what more can you tell us about the circumstances surrounding the discovery of Ganu Zakaria's body?
Well, the latest regarding the incident is that the chief of Damongo, through his youth chief, will be issuing a statement regarding the death of this gentleman. According to them, based on incident that happened similar to this one, the chief came out to put in place some measures that will curtail the issue of livestock theft in the municipality, and for that matter, Damongo and East Everard. But since that institution was given to them, there have not been any issue or complaint about livestock theft until this latest one, where the incident even led to the death of this particular suspect. Now, they believe that the rumors discussion among residents in town is that once the gentleman is stationed in Damongo or he lives in Damongo, and then was found between Damongo and Larabanga at that odd hour at dawn with a livestock lying by him together with his motorbike, they suspect that maybe he went somewhere and picked the livestock, and the owners also monitored him and and moved to where he was and got him, and then leaving the livestock and himself lying there. The police have still taken over the body, and he's currently at the morgue in Damongo here, and they are planning to find out whether this the disease was actually going on a lawful routine movement, or he was just attacked or planned to be attacked by another person or something else. So the police are not leaving anything on chance. They want to find out what actually led to the death of this suspect. But nobody is coming out. The disease. But nobody is coming out to complain or to give evidence to whatever happened around Larabanga last night.
Well, so the police have since not at least giving any suspects at all. They have not named any suspects at all.
But the good thing is that the Damagora and through his youth chief, we are speaking to the press today as to whether they have evidence to that regard or whatever they will say. The press is waiting to hear from them. We are told the family in Damongo here are currently at the hospital, pleading with the police to release the body to them to bury according to the Islamic custom. But anything before that, we are also told that in the motorbike repairers today, will address the press regarding the death of their colleague.
Okay. Okay. All right, Isaac, we look forward to all of these press briefings when they do. But away from the Savannah region, I'll take you to the central region where 8 Police Command has arrested a 49-year-old fisherman, Samuel Ama, also known as Kofi Nyan, for defiling a 13-year-old girl at Mumford, a suburb in Apama in the central region. The suspect was seen committing the heinous act in a viral video. According to a press statement issued and signed by the acting head of the Public Affairs Unit of the Central Regional Police Command, ASP Patrick Bentum, the Apam District Police Command received information that on October 16, the 49-year-old fisherman by the name Samuel Ama had defiled a 13-year-old girl. The statement revealed that the suspect lured the survivor into a ghetto at Mumford and defiled her. The victim was sent to St. Luke Catholic Hospital for examination and treatment. Following the hospital visit, the docket was referred to the Central Regional DOFSU, where the accused admitted to the offense and was subsequently detained. The command assures the general public that justice will be served, appealing especially to the people of Mumford and its environs to assist in capturing the 4 accomplices, namely Agogo, Edina, Kwesi Abam, and Eja and Konto, who are currently at large. The police say the suspect will be arraigned before court for prosecution today. Now, before we cross over to our Central Regional correspondent, Abigail Aisel, take a listen to the victim.
Papa na frame kwa yosi mafani sika. Papa bi meme ni din. Na ka se mafani sika, na mka se mfani sika. No mi sister mafani sika onje me pa bona mkwaji sika wo na na information na ni. O sister onye. Na roro mata de no ni mi ko dem no ni mi dai. Ghetto. Ai. O shi wi ni bi. I see 80 cedis, I see 50, 60 cedis, if you see 100 cedis. When you me die, I see my me more the second be woman.
What's that?
Me more the second be woman, me tension. No kuta knife.
So you have just heard from the survivor or the victim who said that the man actually attacked her with a knife and committed that act. But let's engage our Central Regional correspondent, Abigail. Has the suspect's case been heard yet?
Currently, with my research with the police, I've been told that the case is now with the prosecutors. So we are waiting to hear the outcome of that. We know that it might possibly be heard in the Cape Coast High Court. We are following up on that. But for now, the police said they need the media's help to get the 4 other people. According to the...
Oh dear, I hope that I've not lost Abigail. We'll try and reconnect with Abigail to understand really why the police is after the 4 others who they describe as accomplices. And we're also told that there was a viral video. We'll try and get all of that information for you. Do I still have Abigail? Okay, we'll try and reconnect with Abigail for that very important story. But away from that, with just days to the celebration of the Odwira festival, the Ghana Police Service says it has tightened security in Ashirasi and surrounding communities following renewed chieftaincy clashes between the Abokuman of the Asuna family and the Bemo. The dispute centers on who holds the traditional right to lift the ban on drumming and noise-making ahead of the festival. At least 1 person has been confirmed dead, with several others injured in the violent confrontation. Now, Public Relations Officer of the Eastern Regional Police Command, Superintendent Ebenezer Tete, told Joy News that 34 suspects have been arrested, adding that the police would not hesitate to pursue others involved. He's been speaking to my colleague Maxwell Kudeko.
On the 22nd of October, at about 11 a.m., the Abokumahene of Asuna family, Nana Semenshia Asakrofa, performed rituals to lift the ban on noise-making and to herald the beginning of the Odwira festival. In the process, a misunderstanding broke out between the Abokumahene and the Bemuhene of Ashirasi as to who was the rightful person to perform the said ritual. The misunderstanding that ensued led to firing by some young men, and in the process, some 4 persons were hit by the gunfire. As we speak, 34 suspects have been arrested and are in police custody in Odwira, assisting with investigations. 2 weapons have been retrieved, a pump-action gun and a pistol. We are going to ensure that the law takes its course and the persons who have been arrested are taken through the due process to serve as a deterrent to other persons who are bent on fomenting troubles and creating problems this year, especially with regards to the celebration of the Odwira festival. The police are going to ensure that nobody take the law into his own hands.
Well, Maxwell joins us via phone. Maxwell, what's the current situation in the community?
Well, this morning, the police service presented the 34 suspects to the Mumford District Court. Their lawyers pleaded for bail, and the court granted them a bail of 500,000 Ghana cedis with 1 surety. That bail condition goes for 4 of the leaders of the people who have been arrested. The other 30 people who are classified as followers of the boys who fomented the trouble were also given a bail of 100,000 Ghana cedis with 1 surety to be justified. The youth of the town went to the Mumford court in solidarity. There were nearly another clashing, but the assembly member was able to control the crowd, and then the police have also taken charge. Calm has restored to the town as we speak, and the police have indicated that they are going to deal ruthlessly with anybody who attempts to break the peace of the town.
Okay, I hear you say that calm has restored. The police as well have been giving some assurances, but is there still presence of police in the community? Yes,
the police are in town, ensuring that the matter or the issue will not be escalated. Yes, I speak with you. Quite a number of armed policemen went to court this morning when they presented the suspect before court in order to ensure that the matter doesn't escalate. The police are still in town trying to patrol and ensure that there's peace in the area.
Okay, thank you so much. Maxwell Kudago is our Eastern Regional correspondent. But there's more to the story, and my colleague Stephen Mensah joins me via Zoom for that. So the police had released some statements. What are the initial findings from the police investigation into the clashes, Steve?
The police says that so far about 34 persons have been arrested in connection with the incident, and 2 weapons have been retrieved, a pump-action gun and a pistol, while also people who are injured from the incident are receiving treatments to ensure that all the persons are put before court and the due process of the law is taken.
Right, that goes to confirm what the superintendent also said. But also, we understand that a chief in Kade also abdicated his stool after 21 years. What are the reasons behind his decision?
Well, the chief is called Osaberima Ejaritenadu. We understand his stool has been the center of some controversy, and it's a long controversy spanning over a decade. And Osaberima Ejare is unable to continue with the long-standing dispute. That's why he abdicated his stool. Okay,
and how are his people reacting to the news?
Well, from the video circulating so far, his people were seen crying, some resisting him from leaving the premises after his abdication. We understand that he has been admonishing his people to seek his help anytime they are in distress, but he so far has indicated that he is leaving his stool.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Stephen, for bringing us the backstory to this. Now, away from that, and still on to dispute, a dispute over something as simple as charcoal trade has plunged an entire municipality into a security crisis with thousands fleeing the area. The government has imposed a mandatory curfew and banned everything from motorbike pairs to war regalia after a clash between Gonja and Kokomba youth turned deadly in Gulumpe. We have the latest from the front lines of this sudden conflict as my colleague Anas Sabit visited the community with the Regional Security Council.
A mandatory dusk to dawn curfew has clamped down on the township of Gulumpe in the Kintampo North municipality of the Borno East region, transforming this once bustling community into a virtual ghost town after sunset. This is as a result of a deadly conflict between two youth groups, the Gunjes and the Konkombes. The spark, authorities say, was a dispute over the charcoal trade this past Sunday between Gunja and Konkomba youth. A simple economic disagreement turned brutal, leading to the stabbing of one young man. What followed was a cycle of reprisal attacks. Isaac Donko is the municipal chief executive of Kintampo North.
Konkombes and Gunjes at Gulumpe are at loggerheads. They have a challenge over who has to load charcoal into a vehicle. So this misunderstanding ensued to a challenge between the two of them.
The violence left 4 individuals with critical gunshot wounds. They are currently responding to treatment at the Kintampo Municipal Hospital. The terror of that day triggered a mass exodus with over 1,000 residents, mostly women and children, fleeing their homes. The government had to take a drastic action implementing a curfew on the community. This executive instrument enacted on Tuesday is as strict as it is precise. From 4 p.m. until 6 a.m., no one is allowed on the streets. The government says this is a necessary measure to restore peace and order after these ethnic tensions reached a deadly boiling point. Francis Osu-Antwi is the Borno East Regional Minister.
In totality, I can say that we are receiving good feedback, but we are not going to rest as RESEC, we are not going to rest as MUSEC. We are going to do our best to make sure total peace is restored in the town.
Now on to governance and some politics. Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga says there's no constitutional basis to demand that an MOU between Ghana and the USA deportation of some West African nationals should have been brought for ratification. Well, the minority in Parliament have as well demanded that the MOU should have been brought before Parliament for ratification or was effected with pressure. Well, pressure groups as well, Democracy Hub, suing the government as well on this particular matter.
Mr. Speaker, during the recess, a foreign policy development came to light regarding an agreement between the government of Ghana and the United States to accept some deportees. Mr. Speaker, the agreement of such magnitude, in our view, and we respectfully submit, should be subject to the parliamentary scrutiny and Article 75 of the 1992 Constitution. We therefore demand that this arrangement be brought before Parliament for ratification. Ghana's foreign policy must never be conducted in secrecy, nor should we compromise our sovereignty for expediency. We urge the government to always place Ghana's dignity first and ensure that any international agreement reflects our values and command the confidence of the Ghanaian people.
In response, Majority Leader Mahama Ayariga explained that the government had received sound legal advice contrary to the claims of the minority.
The issue of the need for parliamentary ratification of the agreement with the United States to receive ECOWAS citizens being repatriated back to the sub-region has been widely debated. If the appropriate legal advice to this House is that we should ratify it, we will consider so. But I can say with authority that the majority approves of the arrangement and highly commends government for negotiating the removal of the U.S. visa restrictions on Ghanaians. Given our business and social ties with America, these restrictions were going to be extremely burdensome to many Ghanaian businesses and families.
I'll take you to Parliament to get a sense of what's happening. My colleague, Kweku Asante, is on standby. Kweku, tell me what's happening today in Parliament.
Well, we expect a meeting of the Parliament Appointment Committee. We know that at the start of this week, the Speaker referred the nomination of Justice Bakumon, the current acting Chief Justice, and the President's nominee to be the next Chief Justice. He referred that nomination to the Appointment Committee. The committee will meet today to firm up the modalities. We know that in the President's letter, he insisted that Parliament expeditiously deal with the nomination so that Mr. Bakumon can take his seat as the Chief Justice substantive. And so they are going to set up the modalities for the vetting, which we expect to happen perhaps as soon as next week. Apart from that, the House will still around 2 p.m. We don't have details in terms of what exactly is going to be transacted. We know that there will be statements and there will be some questions. But ultimately, also, we will be looking forward to getting some indication on the anti-LGBTQ bill. Yesterday, we were taking up the other paper. This morning, the minority are still insisting that that must be retreated. So the leadership and the speakership would have to provide some guidance.
Right. Thank you so much, Kweku, for bringing us updates from Parliament. Away on to other stories. Attorney General and Minister for Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has called on the Right to Information Commission to prioritize environmental information in its public awareness campaigns to empower citizens to protect the environment, particularly against the devastation caused by illegal mining. He also noted that enhanced transparency in environmental governance will help Ghanaians better understand the real impact of unsustainable practices and hold institutions accountable as the country faces mounting threats of Gulumpe. Speaking on the theme, championing transparency and accountability through access to information in a digital era, at the 5th anniversary and stakeholders conference of the Right to Information Commission in Accra, Dr. Ayine stressed that access to timely environmental information is crucial for safeguarding Ghana's natural resources. He also urged the Commission to as well collaborate with the relevant agencies to ensure that environmental relevant data as well is made available for them.
The theme for this year's anniversary celebration, championing transparency and accountability through access to environmental information in a digital era, could not have been more appropriate. At a time when our nation faces the existential threat of environmental degradation, particularly from illegal mining and deforestation, access to information, to accurate information, becomes critical. Transparency in environmental governance allows citizens to understand the impact of unsustainable practices and to demand accountability from those entrusted with the management of our natural resources. I urge the Commission to make environmental information a central pillar of its awareness campaigns, ensuring that citizens are empowered to act in defense of our collective future. I am pleased to note that the Commission continues to evolve institutionally, guided by the 5-year strategic plan, aptly titled Pathway to Open and Transparent Governance. This plan must not remain a document on the shelf.
Well, in line with President John Mahama's call for a reset of the United Nations Charter, Foreign Affairs Minister Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa is making a strong case for the inclusion of African countries in major global diplomatic and economic decision framework. Speaking at a high-level dialogue in Accra as part of activities marking the 80th anniversary of the United Nations, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa intimated that global reforms should include giving a permanent seat to Africa at the UN Security Council, while keeping focus on amending the voting rights of international organizations such as the IMF. The comment of the minister enjoyed the support of UN representatives who joined the call for fairness and equity on the global stage.
Of sustainable development and finance sits at the very core of our global agenda. We cannot advance the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development or achieve the goals of the Paris Agreement without confronting the structural inequities embedded in the global financial system. Too many developing nations remain trapped in cycles of unsustainable debt, while the promise of fair access to capital and trade remains elusive. As President John Dramani Mahama rightly reminded the international community at the 80th session of the UN General Assembly, we demand not only a reform of the Security Council, but also a reset of the global financial architecture, which is currently rigged against Africa. This call echoes the collective demand of the Global South for a more balanced system of global governance, one that gives all nations an equitable voice and fair opportunity in shaping our shared economic future. The reform of international financial institutions, including the voting structures of the IMF and the World Bank, remains essential to ensuring that developing economies have a meaningful role in global decision-making. The United Nations must continue to play a central role in championing financial justice by advocating for debt relief, sustainable investment, and innovative financing mechanisms that empower countries to invest in their own development, predictable, concessional, and climate sensitive. Financing must become a cornerstone of renewed multilateralism, which prioritizes people and planet over politics and profit.
And that reflects our conviction together that development has to serve people everywhere, that peace must be sustained everywhere, and that dignity must be protected everywhere. His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, in his address to the 80th session of the UN General Assembly, called on the international community to recognize Africa's growing population and Africa's growing economic potential, and to reflect that reality in global decision-making also lies in Africa. His message aligns with today's theme and reminds us that our future depends on fairness, inclusiveness, and cooperation. Allow me to paraphrase some of the poignant remarks made by H.E. He talked about demographics. He said by 2050, over a quarter of the world's people and 1/3 of all youth will live in Africa. He talked about representation. He said the UN Charter's promise of sovereign equality for all its members is not yet realized. He talked about how Africa still lacks a permanent seat on the Security Council. The UN at 80 celebration, it offers us a reminder that we have to protect spaces for frank deliberation. We have to welcome critique. We have to allow bold ideas to be said and to be tested, and we have to allow uncomfortable truths to be confronted.
There is a moral education crisis, the words of Ghana's Education Minister Haruna Iddrisu, who backed calls for more allocation of resources to support improving education outcomes in the country. The concern of the sector minister comes in the wake of a newly launched research book titled Reconceptualizing the Learning Crisis in Africa. The document argues that the crisis is not that the African children cannot learn, but that education systems too often ignore how they learn best. According to the authors of the document, achieving education for all in Africa requires a much more holistic approach. There's more in the following report.
The launch of the research-driven book Reconceptualizing the Learning Crisis in Africa has stoked a conversation among stakeholders in Ghana's education sector on the optimum way of resolving challenges confronting the sector. According to authors of the book, the crisis is not that African children cannot learn, but that the education system too often ignores how they learn best. Professor Kwame Echampong is co-author of the book.
I think the problem is that we have to pay attention to many Ghanaian children who are not learning. It is our responsibility to ensure that they learn. And if we are failing to do that, this is what we are calling a moral crisis. And it's a social injustice because these are the children who need to learn the most. These are the children we have to make a commitment to make sure that they learn. So if we're not doing that, then it's our responsibility to take up the challenge and to make sure that every child is able to read and write.
Adding his voice to the findings in the newly launched book, Ghana's Education Minister Haruna Iddrisu identified key challenges confronting the sector while outlining plans by government to tackle the crisis.
Parent-teacher association, but there is a moral crisis with our education in Ghana. The state is not doing enough to adequately finance education, and there are gaps at all levels of education, from basic through secondary, junior high school to higher education, and we need to invest more to expand infrastructure, improve learning and teaching aids and its resources made available. And as I indicated the last time, in the last few months, I've come under major criticism as minister that what are you doing about school placement? what can I do when I don't have resources to fix it? It makes it very difficult. You need resources to expand infrastructure by way of additional classroom, additional dormitories, additional laboratories. But into 2026, under President Mohammed's research agenda, we are looking at spending some 300 million Ghana cedis, at least to end double track system, which undoubtedly has affected the delivery of quality education. I intend to work to convert 10 category C schools to B, 10 category B schools to A, and expand infrastructure and quality improvement in category A school.
Well, this afternoon, emotions are boiling over inside the University of Cape Coast Auditorium, and the Stripes have spoken. One-time champion at Digital College has survived a brutal neck-to-neck contest against Asin State College and the Asantewa Girls SHS to claim a slot in the 2025 NSMQ 1/8 stage. The contest went all the way to the wire. Swings, noisy supporters, and a final round finished that set half the hall silent and the other half into a roar. Now, let's cross over to our reporter, Jacqueline Ansuma Yeboah. I call her the NSM Queen. Jacqueline, what is it like at the SGS Auditorium?
Well, MFA, it was, I wish you could have come here during that time. It was so exciting, the energy, the heat at this very auditorium when Adizadel sailed through to the next stage. But it was a fiery contest because we saw the other schools that are Asin State College and Asantewa put up a good fight. It wasn't a contest that we would say that it was an easy win for Adizadel, because speaking to the contestants, they could attest to the fact that this very contest was a hot one. They didn't have it easy on stage. But currently, as you can see right behind me is the next contest, which is about to kickstart, which is between Infantaman Girls, or Yoko Methodist, and Suhum SHTS right here at the auditorium. We have the contestants moving to the stage right now. In fact, they are just there right now. But then we also have Adizadel students. They're still here. They're supporting the girls. So they're saying that, they're serving the god of Santa and the god of Moga. So it's going to be a heated one here too, I presume, because after the contest, some of them didn't leave. They are sitting behind waiting for their lady. So we still have contests ongoing at the various venues. So let me run you through a couple of them. So this contest, which is in Infantaman or Yoko Methodist and the Suhum SHTS, when you go to CNC, we also have the Tema Secondary School, Accra Girls Senior High School, Canton SHS, and when you go to Auditorium 900, we have KJB Asato SHS, St. Mary's Senior High School, and Cratchit Senior High School. But that is also not the last contest. We have a last contest for the day, 3 different contests each at all 3 venues. At the end of the day, we still have more schools still booking their slot for the 1/8 stage. MFA, Akosi Adeti, back to you in the studio.
Well, thank you, Jackie. I was hoping you run us through the sponsored, but if not, the sponsors, if not now, you do that later. While you're watching News Today, stay with us this morning. Welcome back to News Today. I'll take you back to the Central Region, where its police command has arrested a 49-year-old fisherman, Samuel Ama, also known as Kofinyan, for defiling a 13-year-old girl at Mumford, a suburb in Apam, in the Central Region. The suspect was seen committing the heinous act in a viral video. According to a press statement issued and signed by the acting head of the Public Affairs Unit of the Central Regional Police Command, the ASP Patrick Bentum, the Apam District Police Command received information that on October 16, the 49-year-old fisherman by the name Samuel Ama had defiled a 13-year-old girl. The statement revealed that the suspect lured the survivor into a ghetto at Mumford and defiled her. The victim was then sent to the hospital for examination and treatment as well. I'll now take you to my colleague Abigail Asel, who is our Central Regional Correspondent, bring us updates. Abigail, so you were telling me about how they're waiting before the case will be heard. But give me more details about the 4 people who the police say they are at large. What are their crimes?
Right, so the 4 people, according to the police, were named by the victim as being present when the act was being done. According to the victim, some of these 4 persons were recording, and when the suspect was arrested, these 4 persons escaped. That was their crime, for being present when the crime was being committed and not stopping or even trying to help them. They were present, some of them recording the act. That is their crime, and that is why the police is looking for these 4 persons to add them to the suspect for arraignment at the court.
Okay, well, Abigail, before I let you go, in that interview with the victim or survivor, as we like to describe her, she says that the man lured her with a knife with the accusation that she had stolen her money. Would you like to narrate this to me more?
So, according to the victim, she was on an errand when she met the suspect, Samuel Lama, and he asked her to get him water. She returned from that errand. He accused her of stealing his money, an amount of 60. And then he kept on the amount of 60 to the 60. And then she made that amount 100. He denied the crime, he the theft. And abused her. And according to the victim, she tried to scream, but anytime she did so, the suspect threatened her with a knife, saying if she screamed, he will kill her.
Okay. Well, thank you, Abigail, for bringing us updates. And I know you'll be following this in court as well and bringing all of the updates. And apologies to you watching for the bad sound over there. You're watching News Today. Time now for business, and Michelle is up. Many thanks for staying with us. It's time for business. I am Michelle Ejekum. Now, the director of Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Robert Darko, is calling for greater efforts to strengthen the underlying structure of Ghana's economy to help it better withstand global shocks. Now, speaking at the launch of the Ghana Evaluation Week in Accra, Professor Osei said while Ghana has made progress in certain areas, however, the economy remains too vulnerable to external pressures such as global commodity price fluctuations and international financial instability.
The two-day event organized by the Development Insight Hub, the Ghana Monitoring and Evaluation Forum, and the National Development Planning Commission brought together policymakers, development partners, and academia under the theme Ghana's Evaluation Journey, Progress, Challenges, and the Way Forward. Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Robert Darko, called for deliberate efforts to strengthen the underlying structures of Ghana's economy to withstand global shocks.
What I am calling the fiscal blues will not go away anytime soon. Admittedly, we've seen significant fiscal improvements in this year. However, the underlying structure still remains fragile. And so, God forbid, if there is any adverse shock, we will be impacted and will be impacted hard. So, in other words, there is still more work for us to do. Of course, like I mentioned, we still have very limited fiscal space. And as for the expenditure pressures, plenty.
UNICEF representative to Ghana, Osama Kugali, also emphasized the need for stronger partnerships to enhance Ghana's monitoring and evaluation framework.
Interventions are effective and no one is left behind. Despite this progress, challenges persist. Limited funding, inadequate coordination, insufficient collaboration, and human resources availability and capacity often constrain the scope and quality of monitoring and evaluation activities. Effective monitoring and evaluation also require a strong partnership across government institutions, civil society organizations, academia, and development partners.
The Ghana Evaluation Week aims to promote data-driven decision-making and strengthen the culture of evidence-based policy in national development.
Away from that, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has called on government to simplify and consolidate all taxes and levies into a single transparent VAT rate system in the upcoming 2026 budget. Speaking at the 49th Annual General Meeting, GNCCI President Stephen Miazan emphasized that the current complex tax structure is hindering business progress and compliances. There's more in this report.
The Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry has long advocated for a simplified VAT system that enhances compliance, boosts government revenue, and supports business growth. The Chamber believes that a single transparent VAT system would reduce administrative inefficiencies, increase revenue mobilization, and promote economic growth. This call comes as government has already acknowledged the need to reform the VAT system, announcing the formation of a committee in collaboration with the International Monetary Fund to review it. Speaking at the Chamber's 49th Annual General Meeting, President of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Stephen Miazan, urged government to use the 2026 budget to expedite the reform process and provide clarity on implementation timelines.
On taxes, our recommendations are the Chamber wants the government to review downwards the already existing taxes, including simplifying and consolidating VAT and all levies into a single transparent VAT rate, as well as reduce VAT and remove the COVID-19 levy, which has outlived its purpose. The Chamber urges the government to introduce turnover and employment-based corporate tax thresholds, remove VAT on insurance premiums to enhance accessibility for households and SMEs, and grant a 3-year tax holiday for startups to promote entrepreneurship, innovation, and job creation.
He also appealed to government to expeditiously take decisive action against illegal mining, popularly known as Gulumpe.
And that's it for business. I am Michelle Ejekum. For more business news, please log on to myjournline.com. Sports is up next.
Welcome to the Midday Sports with me, Benaya Elom Dapamapo. Black Stars midfielder Kwesi Zibo is confident about the team's chances of achieving big things at the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The team sealed qualification for the global showpiece for the 5th time after topping Group I with 25 points. The Black Stars, however, failed to progress beyond the group stages in the last 2 editions. However, Zibo believes the story will be different this time.
Like I would just remove the player outside and I'll be like, as a Ghanaian, I was just hurt, you know, because every Ghanaian were expecting Ghana to be at the AFCON. I think this is the first time that we didn't qualify to the AFCON. Yeah. So I was just hurt, and I feel like even that qualification that we didn't get pushed the guys really hard for them to get this this World Cup qualification. But at first I was just hurt, and now I think that we have greater things ahead of us. So yeah.
Speaking of the greater things, what can this team achieve at the World Cup?
This team can really achieve big in the World Cup next year. Because the young child that I have seen, I have trained with, I think most of them are doing well in their various clubs in Europe. And I feel like this team is more united. Yeah. And one thing I always say, like, if a team is united, it's hard to beat. If a team is together, it's really hard to. And this team is really, really united. Like, everyone, you see everyone talking to each other, every person. You will never, like, see someone not talking to this person. Like, we are all together, we are all making jokes, and that makes a team really strong.
Fantastic. And the full interview airs tonight at 8:30 p.m. on Prime News. Now to some women's football, where Black Queens head coach Kimlas Bjorkegren has expressed confidence in his team's readiness ahead of their crucial 2026 Cup of Nations against Egypt. Now he says that preparations have gone according to plan, with the players showing great commitment and focus as they aim to secure qualification for the continental showpiece.
It's great to be back with the girls. Have been too long time since the great tournament that we had. We came together as a really strong group. We performed well on the pitch, and we had so much fun off the pitch as well. I think when we now came back, we are in a good place. Of course, you always want more days to prepare for important games here against Egypt, but otherwise a really good energy, and we're looking forward to play another 2 games here. We know that we have a strong squad that did really well in the summer, like I said, but there are so many players with good potential that haven't been in the squad before. So of course we watch them as well, and we try to rotate and give new players a chance in the squad. Because in the end of the day, we always need to have the best players on the pitch for Ghana. Yeah, we will only have like 2 days together here in the preparation for the first game. So of course that it's less time. You prefer to have a little bit more time, but it is what it is. So no excuses. We have prepared the team in the best way. We have watched Egypt, how we think that they're going to play, but more important, how we want to play. We know that we are a good team, so we have all the chances to win, especially over 2 games. I think the depth in our team is a little bit better, so I hope that will be the favor for us if you're looking over 2 games, because it's like the first game now is just going to be halftime, so the most important is to be the better team over 2 games. Egypt is one of the most upcoming teams in Africa, actually. So they have been good now for a while. I know that they have started to invest in the women's football. Also, they have 3-4 really good players that can make the difference. Of course, we need to handle them, but again, it's going to be back to us that we have to perform and make sure that we are the better team.
And that's it for the sports segment with me, Benaya Elom Dapamapo. For more stories, you can log on to myjournline.com. Over to you, Emefa.
Thank you so much, Benaya. And wrapping the bulletin, the People's National Convention is urging government and local authorities to intensify the fight against illegal mining. Party executives say while they commend the current administration for forming the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, community leaders must take ownership of the efforts to ensure lasting results. Their comments came in when the party's leadership paid a courtesy call on the Multimedia Group Limited as part of a nationwide media engagement tour. Nuala Kariniali has the rest of the story.
Led by National Chairman Samson Asake Awingobit, the People's National Convention delegation visited the Multimedia Group Limited to rekindle ties and discuss national development issues. Beyond their visit, the team, which included National Organizer Abbas Nuhu, National Women's Organizer Esther Osei-Danso, and National Youth Organizer Mark Ewusi Ako, commended the current government's effort in tackling illegal mining through the National Anti-Illegal Mining Operations Secretariat, NIMOS. They, however, urged community leaders, particularly chiefs and district chief executives, to take greater responsibility in sustaining the fight against Gulumpe.
We heard that the EU rep in Ghana is already starting raising red flags because of the EPA research. And so the president has put up NIMOS, and NIMOS is really doing a great job. We can no longer disagree with the president than to support the president at this point in time. We want to call on community leadership themselves that the 9 months will come and go. But you and I are living in the same community. The chiefs are there, the queen mothers are there, the unit committees are there, the assembly members are there, the assembly itself is there. If 9 months doesn't come and you see that people are destroying our water bodies, our land, to the extent that mercury has found its way to the food that we are all eating, citizens also has the right to arrest, especially when it comes to our health. Now that our wives and our children are giving birth to children with deformities, what is our future? Our future is our children. The next generation is the children. And if you are giving birth with deformities, you can imagine that, do we have a generation?
The national chairman also called on President Mahama's administration to fully implement the oral report, describing it as one of the policies that influenced the PNC's decision to endorse his presidential bid.
We went ahead to declare the support for NDC and the presidential candidate because when we look at their policy at the time, it was in consonance with the PNC policy. But because we did not have the opportunity to be on the ballot box, we said we cannot sit neutral. Hence, we declared our support to the NDC. So today, after election, or after President Mahama was sworn in, the committee was put, the other committee was taxed, they went round, they have evidence, they presented the report, presented the report to the Attorney General, and today he's calling for a special court to prosecute people who have done that. We strongly believe that President Mahama should make sure that that oral, if you really want, we, all of us, Ghanaians, including your good self, we want to see how effectively oral report will be implemented to the latter.
Beyond your policy appeals, the PNC leadership highlighted what they described as the party's low visibility in mainstream media. They believe the limited engagement by journalists on their stance over key issues has contributed to public disconnect, a situation they hope to address through a nationwide media reintroduction tour.
But we have not sold ourselves very well. So today's crop of leadership, we think that we can't sit down. We need to reposition our party and rebrand our party and make it visible. And that's out of that, we agreed that we'll pay a courtesy call to your media house and to let you know that if you people have forgotten about us, we are there.
Receiving the delegation, Chief Operating Officer of the Multimedia Group Limited, Mr. Ken Ansah, thanked the party for their visit and reaffirmed the company's commitment to balance political coverage.
For what we do and who we are, we have to always give voice to people to speak on issues and to issues. And it is all in the spirit of building our democracy and holding power to account. And as my brother said, also sharing alternative views on how we can build Ghana together. So when you have an institution like the PNC, it is obviously a credible, solid voice that must be heard, ideally at every point in time on all matters, just as other parties are also heard. It is never a deliberate attempt that we wouldn't give the PNC a voice. If at any point you felt that we hadn't approached you, we hadn't invited you to the conversation or sought your views on issues, then it has only been, I would say, an omission rather than a deliberate act. So accept our apologies on those grounds.
The People's National Convention says the visit to multimedia forms part of a broader effort to reposition the party ahead of future elections while deepening collaboration with media houses to ensure inclusivity in Ghana's political dialogue. Noella Karanyali, Joy News.
And that's how we wrap the bulletin for this afternoon. I am Emefa Akosia Adeti. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Thank you for watching.